and welcome to our series of educational videos that talk about various aspects of big band section playing. This is the UMO Helsinki Jazz Orchestra trumpet section, and my name's Ed PARTYKA. We just heard an excerpt from Bob Mintzer's Latin Dance, and what we're going to talk about right now are maybe some of the differences in how a section approaches unison playing when things are voiced out, upper register against lower register, some things like that, because you as professional players with a lot of experience in big band section work, you guys do a lot of things that seem automatic to me. You adjust your sound, you adjust the way you play depending on the voicing, whether something's unison or voiced out, and all that sort of stuff. So maybe this would be something to talk about. What are some of the big differences between when you have a line that is unison for the whole section and when suddenly something is multi-voice, so 4 parts? How do you change your sound? Do you change your sound? And what do you do to change it?
I think unisons can be played a little softer.
Okay.
And just listen to the other guys and kind of.
Okay, so everybody sort of backs off.
Yeah.
And once again, this is, it's great that we keep talking about these things that keep coming up, this listening, listening to the other players. One of the bits of wisdom, that I learned also as a very young player was, yes, if there's something that's soft, you should really be listening to everybody else, of course, and even when it's loud, you should still be able to hear everybody else. So regardless of the volume level, but with soft playing and unison playing, very, very important. What are some other things that you need to think about?
In unison, I think we have to be even more careful with the tuning and listen to the good intonation. And I think it's good to play a little less vibrato or even at all vibrato in unison spots.
Yeah, exactly. On unison lines, generally speaking, very little vibrato to no vibrato. Unless, of course, you do have a coordinated vibrato, because sometimes stylistically, for older types of music, you do need a vibrato, but then this is something you definitely need to be listening to the lead player about in regards to the vibrato. But generally, unison lines, no vibrato. So this is something also a very important point. Do you change the size of your sound? Do you think not just softer when you have a unison line, but maybe a little bit of a smaller, more compact sound, or not really? I guess that's a not really. No, because of course, sometimes I was talking to some saxophone players where they actually really think about the size of the sound, where they play with a narrower, smaller sound on unisons, and then they broaden out. But you guys don't. It's more of a volume issue for you. Okay. Any other ideas or some of the differences between unison playing and when it goes back to being voiced out? We were talking in the last video about, of course, balance and the fact that in multi-voice chords, very often the lower voices need to be louder. So, of course, how do you do that? Is there anything or is it just active listening, or how do you mark things in your part, or what's your secret when you have a fourth trumpet part there?
I don't know if there is a secret, anything else, but again, listening, how the lead player plays. And I think my main job is to make his or her job as easy as possible. So I have maybe an image in my head that I will widen up my sound, so that in that way it will kind of get more space. I will fill up the space comparing to the unison playing. So that's a big thing for me. Always thinking I want to hear Teemu's or lead players playing, but trying to make his living as easy as possible.
Thank you. That's a very good words of wisdom for every section player. Thank you very much. Mikko, do you have anything to say about this stuff?
I think the other guys said the most important wise words.
Maybe one thing that when we are playing chords, then you have to be aware of that note you are playing, or at least in some kind of level try to if you're playing a third or something, how to tune it. For example, a major third in chord has to be a little low in tuning.
Exactly, an awareness of intonation and awareness of your function in the chord as a player.
Yeah, that's difficult maybe to acknowledge, but at least have some kind of intuitive way to.
Exactly. I mean, this is another thing, another topic that up until recently really was not talked about very often in the big band world, the jazz world, but really thinking about natural intonation, thinking about the fact that a major third has to be substantially lower, 13 or 14 cents lower for it to naturally resonate, that if you have the perfect fifth of the chord, it has to be slightly higher. And so knowing about this when you're thinking about your role in the section, you know. But then following that topic, what do you do in your daily practice to work on intonation? Or what do you do in the section to work on intonation? Do you have any exercises or things that you do when you have a sectional rehearsal to specifically address intonation?
If we find chords that doesn't sound so good, we maybe stop on that chord and tune it just one by one. And the next excerpt we are playing is kind of made for that purpose.
Right, but here's maybe something for at home when you're at home practicing alone. How much do you spend a lot of time on intonation practice or not really?
Not really too much, but listen to my own sound and then occasionally check the meter. But if everything sounds good, I can kind of know that it's in tune.
Okay, so really, so definitely quality of sound.
Yeah, and finding the slots for each note so that they are in the best place.
Right. So also not just quality of sound, a centered sound, and
Yeah.
making sure that you're centering each pitch
Yeah.
on the instrument. Okay. Here's a question. Since we're follow this up, do you do a lot of work with just the mouthpiece buzzing, or not much?
Not at all.
Okay, not at all. Okay, everything on the instrument. I think mouthpiece buzzing that's also more of a low brass trombone player thing, is it? Or do you guys do much mouthpiece buzzing? A little bit. Okay.
A little bit, yeah. A little
I do.
Okay. Okay, but what intonation practice things do you do at home? Anything in your practice routine, Teemu, to address intonation?
But just if I play some melody, I try to listen that the melody is in tune within itself, kind of. And in trumpet, some certain notes are out of tune because of the trumpet, how it's built. But just for example, A2 is usually a little high, so just try to find those hard notes and bend them in the right tuning.
Okay, so having an awareness of the physical weaknesses of your instrument, and of course adjusting accordingly. And of course, once again, this comes back to something we talked in one of the earlier videos. Of course, having some help and guidance from a teacher. Because sometimes when you're starting off, maybe you're not aware of things or you maybe can't hear them, so having a teacher who can help guide you. Okay. Mikko, what do you have to say about intonation?
It's always very important to record your playing regularly. I mean, that then you can really hear if there is some problem with your tuning. I have a recording equipment at my home, and I do a lot of recording, like multi-track things, so you can really hear that, oh, this is too high, this is too low, things that you don't realize when you play it. So next time you play in a band, you can remember that, oh, my A might be too high or too low or stuff like that. So
no, that's a very good point. Thank you. You know, and of course, in these days, this day and age, it's so easy to be able to record yourself.
Yeah,
I mean, you know, when I was young, my God, it was difficult.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, exactly. Record yourself, listen back. Terrific. Thank you very much. That's a great one. TERO.
Well, lately I have been doing a lot of playing with how should I say, borduna, eller drone. Yes, static note, and I will noodle around with my trumpet and try to match with the tuning or intonation. That's really helpful for your ears. It's soon you will notice how the different notes react on your playing.
Okay, and you have a computer-generated drone?
No, actually, I use one with we have this Indian machine where we can find it. Yeah, but you can find it on YouTube. Just find a cellular drone or something, and just whatever pitch you want. So.
Or you could just get a rock and put it on a keyboard.
Yeah.
Just leave it there. No. But that's also very interesting. That's how we would have done it years ago. Now you get a drone on YouTube.
Yeah.
But those are some nice exercises. And then, as you mentioned before, in the section, of course, when you have chords that maybe aren't tuning that great, slowing down and looking at the chords, maybe taking them apart so that everybody also realizes what function they have. And those are some concrete things to do. Another thing to do, and this is what Teemu, what you did, you wrote sort of an etude for trumpet section, which is basically, as you described it, it's sort of a chorale, but of course to work on intonation issues. So it has some things that are maybe a bit difficult for the instrument and a bit difficult in a trumpet section. So this is Teemu's composition, which addresses the concept of intonation in a trumpet section for a big band.